Hi, I'm Ed.
And I'm Lorraine.
And we're the Warrens. That's not it.
Did you know?
We got you.
You totally thought that because it's April, maybe.
You thought we were... It's April.
The Fools.
You
The
thought
April the Fools.
we were the famous demonologists. Wrong. We're not, because I'm Gabe.
I knew we tricked you. I'm Kat.
And we're actually the Ghouls next door. So... This is episode 14, and on episode 14, we're going to be talking about haunted houses.
Yes, spooky houses. There's ghosts in here.
The houses are possessed. We've done possessed people, and now the houses have the bad stuff in them.
We are connecting dots.
Mm-hmm. So it's like demons inside of them.
Progress.
Possibly aliens, but probably not.
Maybe aliens. There's owls outside, maybe.
So Kat and I are going to dig into some haunted spaces.
For truths.
Some true
question mark? Stories.
We're going to talk about some stories in which people have told that they had been haunted inside of their houses.
Yes.
And
that is in fact a fact.
That is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to tell you all about it. We're going to tell you why the house is haunted, what kind of haunted, fucked up shit happened, and, you know, more about it and, like, why it's not true. Probably.
Yes, air quotes.
Lots of them.
I did those while you didn't see them because this is a podcast.
Yeah,
and you don't see my movements.
That no one looks at us. So Kat and I have talked about haunted stuff. So we talked about haunted people in our exorcisms and also in aliens. But we've also just talked about our own personal haunted stuff. Like everyone knows that I've had several dead people in my room, like their ashes in boxes in my room, just hanging out with me my whole childhood. Yeah. Just because my family was like, cool, let's put them in there. Mm-hmm. That made sense. But it was totally cool because it didn't scare me. Instead, I like talk to them and I would pray to them and I'd do weird stuff where I'd turn off the lights and then run away and hope that they would just turn them on. Because that's a normal thing for like a 6-year-old to think. Mm-hmm. I'm totally okay.
In that with you, brain. Yep. Picking up. Yep.
Normal.
Yeah.
Did not need therapy.
No,
Still do not
super
need therapy.
Both of us.
I am not in need of great and terrible help. Please, somebody.
No.
I am super okay. This is not a cry for help. I do not need the authorities.
She doesn't.
But that's just like Gabe's hauntings. You can learn more about those more in depth if you are super interested about Gabe being haunted as a child and how that shaped me as a human being. You can check that out in episode 2, Ghost Stories. But we did briefly talk about in episode 2 about some haunts and Kat's grandpa.
Yeah, I mean, reminiscent of Dead Bed. My grandpa's house was very old and it was creepy and there was orbs.
People had died there and Kat slept in those rooms.
I slept in the room of my deceased great-grandfather. Mm-hmm. My grandpa actually died in the room that was my room. I mean, not when I stayed there, because that was after. There were dead people in that house. There was a lot of people that died in the house. My grandma actually, my great-grandma actually ran herself over with the family car in our driveway.
Mm-hmm. Ran herself over, not ghosts.
Yeah, not ghosts. It's actually, no one really knows what happens. They say it was an accident. People think it wasn't an accident. No one rightly knows. And then it was
a mafia hit.
Maybe.
I'm just putting out my theories.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. My great-grandfather died of a stroke, I believe, in the room that I used to sleep in as a child because, you know, fun.
Stroke, also suffocation by ghosts.
Yeah, that too, yeah. My grandma died in her room in that house. My grandpa died in my room in that house.
Fun. Did you die in that house?
I mean, I don't know, maybe. But yeah, he used to I don't think he liked scary things because he was never particularly about spooky things to my knowledge, but he used to love going to old houses and taking pictures and then showing me said pictures and being like, look, ghosts are there. And I mean, I mentioned that already, but I just remember it being like a weird thing that he liked to do. And actually after he died, when we were in the house, there's a picture where I'm standing there with my mom and my mom is convinced he's in the picture too because there's like a flash of orby light over my face. He's like, Grandpa's there with us. I'm like, Mom, shut up. But like she's like really sincerely about the fact that like that picture is me with ghosts there. Yeah, it's like, yeah, sure, why not?
We talked about haunted houses.
Yes.
And we watched some haunted stuff.
We did.
So we watched Haunting in Connecticut, and we watched Amityville Horror.
Yeah.
Kat, what was that?
That was fucking weird.
Is someone at the door?
I don't think so.
Hold on, let me check. It doesn't look like anyone's at the door.
No, I don't see humans.
Hello? Hello? It sounds like it's coming from over there, from like the basement. Yeah.
Fuck that, no.
No. Remember before when I told you that story?
I remember.
And I was home alone, and I heard that knocking, the same knocking, and it was coming from the basement.
It was like that aggressive?
Yeah, and then I had to put the rolly thing in front of it.
So I feel like we should just like leave that alone.
But then what if it just keeps coming back? I feel like we should probably go check it out.
No.
Yeah.
That's no. That's
okay, well, I'm going to check it out. And you can either come with me, or you can stay right in here in this room by yourself, alone, all by your lonesome. Well, tough, because I'm going to go check it out. Because I'm tired of this. Like, it happens like all of the time, especially whenever you're gone. And I want to know what it is. So I'm going to go check.
Steps. I will break your legs.
I'm going to check it out.
Break your legs.
I'm checking it out. That's it.
No.
We're going.
I will break your legs. Break them. Breaking? With hands.
Just take the stuff.
You shush your face with the stuff in the thing. Why do you insist on us dying?
It's for art.
But it's not for comedy. It's not even funny.
Well, we don't know yet. Maybe it's
do
funny ghosts.
For comedy, but not this.
All right, Kat. So we're just like, we'll just take like a minute just to take a look, okay?
Yeah, okay.
All right, so just go down the stairs. It's like really. Hold on. The door just like it like closed.
What the shit?
Sorry, everything's falling apart.
Well, because there's things slamming.
Hold on.
We're gonna die.
Okay, so.
Oh my god, we're gonna die.
Well, that didn't work. The whole pull the handle.
Well, now I think there's a man in our basement.
Okay, well, we'll just chill down here a minute.
You didn't let me bring the knife. I don't. You
We'll
said
just,
it was excessive. Fucking understand.
I know. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
It's gonna be fun.
I don't see any murderers. It's very dark.
Well, the first part is a good sign. All right. Well, I mean, I don't see anything down here. It's just the usual
dusty as fuck.
Spiders, cobwebs, Jeff. Hey, Jeff.
Hey. Oh, hey, Jeff.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah.
Sorry I forgot to feed you this morning.
Yeah.
You don't meow like the cats.
So we kind of forget that you're down here, but
Yeah. Still love.
yeah. I mean, thanks for
You're like a great plant.
staying here forever. That's cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Love it. Yeah. I mean, it seems.
Ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah, I can't say that I know what that is.
Alright, first fucking slamming doors.
That could have been a very strong draft.
Shit. There's no other things open.
Those could be
fucking draft. Oh my god.
The cats
Shut
making
your fucking mouth with your logic.
ghost sounds. You know,
The cats
sometimes.
the cats do know how to open and close doors. Fuck, Jesus Christ. Are they?
Yeah, I guess it is kind of funny. I don't know if it's all that kind of funny. Okay. Okay, so that was a thing that happened. How are you feeling better? You kind of seemed a little.
It's so messy down here.
Yeah, I mean, we're never down here, so.
I feel like we should clean it.
You feel like we should clean it?
Yes, it's disgusting.
You feel like we should, like, together.
No,
we would be.
Me. I need to clean
You!
it.
Kat, are you feeling okay?
Oh.
I feel like.
This isn't Kat.
What?
You don't recognize it.
Susan?
Yes.
Oh my god, Susan.
That's definitely true.
Wow, did you get a new body? You look great.
So, yeah,
You look great. I really love that you're here. It's been a minute. It's been a while.
Yeah, you guys really just let it get.
I mean, we just don't come down here. I would say we're both pretty afraid of it because of the knocking and the.
From Jeff.
You know what? I think he's kind of let himself go. He might be feeling a little hopeless down here.
That's true. This
Could be a problem with us. He doesn't have a lot of sunlight. Oh well.
Yeah, just things need to be cleaner. I just kind of feel that way.
Okay.
You know, sometimes things just run unclean and you need to clean them.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel.
Okay.
How are you? You don't usually come down here.
No, I'm doing great. Right now, actually, me and Kat were doing our podcast. Actually.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's.
There's a thing in my head.
Yeah, I don't know if you know what a podcast is. I don't think you were around. So like radio. You know radio.
Yes.
We're on that now, kind of.
There's people listening.
There will be, hopefully, like my mom.
So not right now.
Not at this time. I'm listening, but it's just me.
So I can say swears.
I mean, if the lady wants to, she can.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're actually doing one on haunted houses. Funny enough that I'm down here in my haunted basement, but I feel like you know about haunted stuff.
Well, yeah, because I'm here.
Yeah. You're a haunting.
Yeah.
This is a house. I mean, do you know, like, I feel like you probably...
I couldn't just leave this place behind. I just felt so loved here.
Yeah. That's right. You did,
Me and my husband, yeah.
You loved so much that you died.
Yeah.
And then also your husband
so
murdered
much.
you.
I loved so much, Gabe. I loved so much.
Yeah.
I just really did.
Yeah.
And
then there was like the minor husband murdered you thing.
He definitely brutally murdered me.
Yeah.
He didn't appreciate my cleaning like you do.
I definitely appreciate it. Love it when you come around.
He didn't like how I wanted it to be clean.
That sounded a little ominous. So I'm going to ask for you to elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, just, sometimes things they don't get clean enough. So our insides, they're not clean either. And our outsides, and we just have to keep cleaning. And he did not appreciate the cleaning. Because, I don't think it made him feel very good.
So his insides were unclean is what you're saying?
Yeah, no, they were disgusting. All of our humans...
Uh-huh.
Humans in general, we're disgusting. We're just really fucking disgusting. I'm sorry, we're on the radio.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. How does one go about cleaning the insides of a human? As disgusting as we are.
Like clean counters and the floor.
Like with a cleaning solution?
Yeah.
Inside the body.
Bleach specifically.
Bleach in the body.
Yeah.
In his body.
Mine is. Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure you didn't kill yourself?
No. I wasn't clean enough yet for that to happen. And I tried to clean us both. We just couldn't ever get clean enough. It was just really strange.
Okay, I just want to say, I'm going to just put this out here. Because I love you, Susan. I love what you do with the house. Yeah. Just so you know, Kat and I really love being unclean inside. We're totally cool with that. So just don't.
Yeah, I think I learned. I definitely think I learned.
That's so good. That's such a relief to hear. Oh my God. Whew, okay.
I think I learned. Yeah, no, he did not appreciate my cleaning like you did. Both external and internal. I just wanted us to be so happy. So I just kept cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. But he didn't appreciate it, as I said. So then, yeah, I was brutally murdered.
Okay. We're going to leave it at that. Yeah. I mean, I love your spirit.
Yeah.
I super love that you're cool now. Is he here?
Yeah.
Oh.
I like to think so.
You would like to think so. I'm not super
Yeah, he
excited.
definitely is.
That is
We're both here.
the evil man in the house. Okay, well,
He loves to knock. That's how he would let me know he was coming into the room. He would always knock before he would come in to inspect to see if I cleaned.
oh, right. That's totally normal. That's a normal thing. I can totally.
Yeah. He wanted me to be
So,
ready, so.
I'm gonna be a little honest.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling a little uncomfortable. I think, why don't we do this? Just throwing it out there to get my mind off of how terribly creepy this is and my whole existence in this house.
Happy?
No, love it. I'm so happy. Like I'm.
When we're not happy,
No. Oh no, you know what? I'm so clean. I'm sparkling. I think that we're already clean. We're already clean. Established. Done. Nailed. Perfect.
I have solutions for that.
No, I believe you. I believe you. I would just think that, we're on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you got inside scoop. You probably know about haunting, right?
Yeah, no, I'm a ghost. That's real.
Originally, you were from Connecticut. Yeah. That's cool. There was a very famous haunting in Connecticut. Are you familiar?
Are we talking about the Snedekers?
Yes.
The family, yeah. Alan and Carmen, they moved with their daughter and their 3 sons to, Connecticut. Their son had cancer, their oldest one. So they're being treated at the hospital in Connecticut, and the house was located near the hospital, so it was convenient for them and their family because the journeys made them very sick. There were bad things that lived there, so.
But what was bad about it?
Well, it used to be a funeral home, and yeah, the mom I think knew, and she tried to hide it from the sons.
Mm-hmm.
But the oldest son, he was very close to death, and I think that's where they really played upon that. And I heard there was a movie.
Yes.
They really played upon that.
That was a
in the
very
movie.
big part.
And he was close to death, so he could see, the other ghosts that were not as nice as me. They didn't like to clean. They didn't like to do anything positive. They were just very upset.
What were they upset about?
Bad things happened to them, supposedly. Supposedly?
It's okay. Like what? Kind of bad thing?
Well, the funeral home was apparently not one of those funeral homes that's above a bar. They didn't always do things the right way.
Okay.
I think in the movie they claimed they ripped off their eyelids and wrote things on them that were not very nice. In languages I don't know.
Honestly,
I didn't
nothing.
travel very much. So,
I couldn't write anything on my body and it'd be nice if I didn't ask for it.
And the carved specifically.
That's even worse.
Carved.
I'm gonna go with yeah.
But what I think happened was they were doing unsavory things to the body in a explicit sense,
Like sex stuff?
Well, a lady doesn't talk about such things. But yeah.
Like bedroom stuff?
Bedroom
To
stuff,
to the dead? To the guys in
To
there?
the no longer alive people.
Okay.
We prefer to be called no longer alive.
No longer alive, rights matter,
Yeah.
That's true.
I appreciate you saying that.
Yes.
We don't really hear that enough.
Yeah, just trying to be your friend. Just trying to stay on this. Just trying to stay in your good graces.
You're just so clean.
Yes. Oh my God, so
I'm
much.
so happy I chose this home. There was a funeral home. They tried to play it down so it wasn't as scary because kids don't like dead things usually.
I hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were kind of scared, and the mean ghosts were very mean to them. They really just kind of tormented them. The one daughter, oh my gosh, they tried to do unsavory things to her. The other ghosts.
Revenge?
Yeah, it seemed like vengeance because of the unsavory things that were done to them.
An eye for an eye, and the whole world goes blind. Ghosts.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Within the first 3 hours, the son was very mad, and he yelled out that he thought that they had to leave. There was a man with long black hair all the way down to his hips, and he would talk to the son every day. Sometimes would threaten him. Other times he would just stand there and say his name.
That is creepy. That is a good reason to leave.
It's enough to scare somebody for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But he told them that the house was evil and that he needed to leave and that they should leave too because it wasn't safe. And they didn't listen because, kids.
He's a kid. He's also on lots of medication.
Yeah, because, the cancer. They diagnosed him with schizophrenia though because the voices they just got, a lot.
Yeah, so they
visiting.
must have thought it wasn't the medication. That was probably That he just
Yeah,
had an
they
issue.
just didn't. They thought he had an issue, and that it wasn't the medication from the cancer, but they didn't believe it was ghosts. You know, people don't generally jump to ghosts right away. So, they sent the son away.
Okay. Oh, well then it probably got better then, right?
No, it did not get better. It got much, much worse.
Oh,
You'd think they leave in situations like that, but no, they stayed for 2 whole years.
that's a long time
Yeah, that's a long
to be in a
time.
haunt.
Yeah, they really went after the niece that was staying there. And there was one night, it was awful. So they said one night, this is the mother's story.
Mm-hmm.
She said, Aunt Carmen, it's coming. Can you feel it? And it was very scary for her because Aunt Carmen was sitting there saying her Bible prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the spirits came after the niece, and she could see the hand going up her night skirt towards her chest. And there was nothing they could do about it. And then she scooped her up, and then they ran downstairs. They contacted the priests, as they needed to do. So the priest actually said, compared to that house, all other cases that he had been involved with were like dealing with Casper, the friendly ghost. It's so funny.
Yeah, hauntings are funny.
Sometimes we're friendly, sometimes we're not, Strangely enough, they stayed there for 2 years, but both parents claimed, I'm sorry, pardon my friend,
Okay.
but raped and sodomized by the demons.
For 2 years.
They both claimed that that's something that they experienced.
In that house that they don't actually really need to be in. Kind of weird considering, they were at this house to make the son's commute better.
Yeah, and between what happened to their niece and what happened to them, I feel like I would have been scared out of there. But no, they stayed. But then eventually, they called in experts.
Okay, what is an expert? Like, what constitutes as an expert?
They were called demonologists.
Oh,
Or ghost hunters.
this is Ed and Lorraine.
Yeah,
Good friends, Ed and Lorraine.
Yeah, no, they came for a visit.
As they do.
Yeah, they came to the house, and they claimed that it was infested with demons.
They would do that.
I knew ghosts, but they claimed demons.
Okay.
Ghosts and demons, I guess. Maybe they're similar. I don't know. Definition.
Yeah.
It's all about the semantics. But yeah, the accounts of Lorraine is the night the mother and the niece called us, they were really terrified. Her niece was in a small bedroom in the back with the covers on her bed levitating all around her like there was a fan blowing around. That was something that she said, yeah. And then they said while the mother was on the phone with her, the most bizarre events started happening. The rosary beads, as we talked about, pulled from their hand, falling on the floor, scattering. So they went over the next morning with the family's parish priests, and they said even he was scared of the house. Blessings of the house did nothing to calm down this ghosts or demons, rather.
That's unsettling. That's not cool.
Yeah. Nothing seemed to calm them down. And actually, 2 priests entered, and they were so scared that they left. It didn't happen until the 3rd priest came that, they kind of reached any progress. So both priests wrote a letter saying that there was an exorcist needed, but that they didn't want to do it because the fear. It was real. They were scared.
The priest didn't want to perform an exorcism.
They didn't want to perform the exorcist because there were powerful forces at work. But there was a 3rd one, but he was finally able to rid the house of the evil, once and for all after a 3-hour exorcism.
That's a long time.
I know. But, there's lots of skeptics about it. They aren't sure if that's actually what happened. So there's actually a book about it, Ray Gordon's 1992 book, In a Dark Place, The Story of the True Haunting. He was hired by Ed and Lorraine Warren, and he said the family stories didn't add up. And to quote him, he said, I found that the accounts of the individual Snedeckers didn't quite mesh. They couldn't keep their stories straight. And he went to Ed with this problem, and Ed said, oh, they're crazy. You got some of the story. Just use what works and make the rest up. Just make it up and make it scary. And then, that's what Ed said.
That sounds exactly like Ed would say.
Yeah.
Because he's full of shit.
And, that's what I know about the haunting in Connecticut.
That is a lot. Thank you so much for that story on our radio show.
You're welcome. I'm just so happy to be here.
Yeah.
When I'm done, I'm just going to clean some more. It's just really gross.
Yeah, I am so sorry.
Yeah. We gotta fix Kat. We got a clean cat.
You know what? No, she's super fine being the way that she is. We all know that. We love her for
I mean,
it.
if that's how you feel,
So
just
no,
say.
I'm gonna say we don't have to. She's lovely,
I would love
clean, in the ways that count.
No.
Wait, what's happening? What are we doing?
No. I'm
Susan.
fucking fine.
Su-
First off, Susan.
Oh, Kat.
Let's talk about that.
Oh my God, Kat. Oh, you're back. That's so great.
Yeah.
Listen,
That was weird.
did I miss you? You know, this basement is super creepy just by itself, but when you're possessed by a ghost,
Is that what happened?
that is exactly what happened, and no one can tell us otherwise.
You know, I felt really weird and I didn't quite like it.
Did you feel
I
like
thought
you
it was
needed to
just, you know,
clean?
the flu still. I thought I just blacked out for a little bit because, you know, I'm not feeling good.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Would you say you
So
feel
Susan
clean?
is here? No. We're in a basement, it's dusty. I don't
Yeah.
feel like there's just spiders on me.
Okay. Well, there's not.
Well, that's good.
I'm so glad you're back. Susan did tell us a really great
It's good
story.
to feel, you know, appreciated.
Susan told us this cool story about haunting in Connecticut. You
Oh,
can
I also
totally,
watched that.
Yeah, hear about it in the podcast. You can listen
Yeah, you know,
later.
necrophilia. Fun.
Yes, that happens.
Poor ghost people.
Raped by ghosts.
Has she ever just like directly talked to you before? I feel like that's a lot.
No, this is the first time.
We should
and
maybe
hopefully the
move.
last. You know what? I think I you know, fixed some things. I think we're on good terms.
She doesn't seem to like me much.
She did want to clean you, and she does have a habit of cleaning people from the inside with bleach. But I think you're going to be fine.
Oh, dear God.
I think you're going to
Okay.
be totally fine. We're good.
So, yeah, we were doing a fucking podcast
Yeah.
until that happened. Did you get to talk at all, or was it just her? Was she hogging the show?
She did. I mean, I did ask her to tell me a story. I thought it'd be kind of cool because she has like an inside scoop in the whole ghost.
Usually you don't
scene.
hear ghosts saying stuff to you, so I guess it was a big deal.
I mean, it was new. I think I did a good job holding myself together.
Well, that's
so
good.
I have a new friend.
In between Susan and me interrupting you, though, I feel like maybe you should say some words. I'll let you do some stuff.
Sure. I love saying stuff.
Words and the things to the people
made
in
a-
the internet spaces.
I made a whole podcast so I could just tell people stuff.
Listen to me.
You have to for an hour.
All right, go ahead, Gabe.
So I did some research on the Amityville horror house.
Yeah.
It's like one of the most famous haunted houses that people know about. Like
Yeah.
when you think haunted house, people think Amityville horror. They think the creepy house with the eyes looking at them and the creepy red eyes in the window and yeah. But the
Murder.
thing, yes, and murder, which is what's really important about Amityville horror. And you know, I'm a big murderino.
Yep.
I love true crime.
Yep, you do.
I love people murdering other people. I don't love
The
it.
horror tripper.
I just love
Tribble?
horror triple. Yes, that's me. And just know about that stuff. So there is a murder that happened in that house.
Yeah.
It's very important. That's how it started. So people just hear about this haunted house and they're like, "Oh, your dad gets possessed and then tries to murder you."
Yeah.
Your stepdad.
As they do.
Stepdads are the worst. So the thing about Amityville horror is that it wasn't a stepdad. It was a son. And it was the DeFeo family.
Yes.
And the murder took place on November 13th of 1974 at 3:15 a.m. Because that's when all the bad stuff happens. 3 a.m. We know that. That's the devil's hour.
Yeah, I just don't check my clock anymore if I wake up and it's not light out.
Because if it's 3 a.m., like, stuff's going to happen to you. Either aliens, demons, ghosts, God, maybe.
Yeah, I accept that as my truth.
So, yeah, just avoid the clock.
Check my clock anymore.
Amityville is in New York. It's like this tiny, quaint little town. Everyone knows everyone. It's wonderful. Well,
It's a word.
yeah. So the DeFeo family, the father of the family, he owned his own automobile company, and he had just a really unruly, just god awful child that they called Butch.
Did he have a whackable, waving, inflatable arm flailing tube man in the front of his dealership?
I don't know. So Butch was just an awful person. He was really violent to his father and just shitty all around his family. By the age of 17, he'd already been addicted to LSD and heroin.
Jesus.
So he was an active heroin user, and he got expelled from school for his violent outbursts.
But, like, what made him that way is what I'm wondering.
It's just the way he was. Because his family tried. So here's the thing. His family tried really hard to be good to him. Like, and try to, you know, more or less distract him from his anger. So
Yeah.
they would buy him stuff. They bought him a brand new boat.
Money heals all. You know how that does.
It was like a $20,000 boat. And just like ridiculous amount of money, right? And he's still angry. He's still like erupting and like lashing out at his father.
Fix emotional neglect. I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm just also devil's advocating it. He might have had some stuff going on that he did not feel was being
drug
satisfied.
addiction.
I know, but before that,
We'll see.
sometimes
I think
there's causes.
If I'm being honest, I just think he was shitty inside. So they gave him a lot of stuff to try to like placate his emotions. And there was a time when his father was like, "Okay, I'm gonna trust you. I need you to transport $20,000 to our bank."
A 17-year-old?
No, he was an adult.
Okay.
When he was 17, he
Sorry, I
got
just
kicked
wanted
out
to
and was addicted to drugs.
Clarify my
Yeah.
understanding of what responsibility should be at a
Yeah.
17-year-old. Okay, continue. Adult person, $20,000.
He's been working for his dad, you know, so he's like, "Hey, I'm going to trust you. Take this $20,000, bring it to the bank." That's it. It's very simple. But Butch was like, "You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hire some of my friends. We're going to stage a robbery, and then I'm going to take all the $20,000. But here's the thing about Butch. He's fucking stupid. Because he did that, he had the robbery, and then the cops came around to ask him normal fucking questions that happen when you're being robbed, and was like, "Hey, what happened?" And he started getting super defensive. And
Like, it wasn't me.
he's also like super paranoid because of the drugs that he's on. And they were like, "Can you come down to the police station and look at some mugshots of prior people?" And he just totally flipped out on them and told them to leave. And that altercation with the police made his dad then reasonably feel like, "Hey, did you steal the $20,000?" And he like, you know, he came and asked him about it, and he totally freaked out on him and threatened his life. And this isn't the first time he's threatened his father's life. Previously, he actually took out a gun and tried to shoot him, but there wasn't any bullets.
So, I know you hate this dude, but I feel like maybe the father did something not great to him. I feel like we'll never know, but I'm just saying, like...
I'm just saying that there was a trial, and if there's a time for
they
that...
can't really say...
But I'm saying Butch could have.
He's
And that would have...
suppressed.
But that
by
could
drugs.
have been his defense.
That's
And
true.
it did not come out.
Yeah, that's valid.
You have the Menendez brothers, who may or may not have been molested. Probably not by their father, to be honest. And they came out with that 6 years later. He could have at any time come out with something like that.
Yeah.
But instead, he said it was demons. Super fun. So let's go on to the... Let's really get down to the bottom of Butch in this fateful night, or early morning, of November 13th. Okay? So, using a .35 Martin rifle, 23-year-old Ronald J. DeFeo murdered his entire family.
Like, even little kids. That's
Yeah.
the awful part.
While they were sleeping, which is what's important here. Okay?
Yeah.
He went and he shot each of them in their sleep.
I feel like some of them probably weren't sleeping, though.
They were all...
Because if they woke up from the noises and then they just kind of stayed still to not
That's the thing.
agitate, I don't know.
This included... So, his family was his parents and 4 siblings.
Like
All shot
babies.
dead. All of them were asleep on their stomachs, right? Except for one, who was his younger sister. I don't know if she was in the closet, but she was not in her bed. She was the one who like had probably gotten up after all that, and he shot her too, right? Here's the thing about the story. So he does this, 3:15 a.m. He shoots everyone.
Yeah.
Then he takes a shower. He eats breakfast. He gets dressed. He goes to work. He works. He calls home pretending that he's wondering where his father is and why his father hasn't shown up to work. "Oh, hey, Dad.
Remember when I shot you? Just kidding. What?
Not me. Not me. I would never watch it. Shoot my family. What? Shut up. So he didn't do that. Definitely not. But he did call to try to convince people.
Yeah.
And
As you do. When you brutally murder your entire family.
I will say the thing about it is that this took 15 minutes to kill his family. Just 15 minutes.
That's really quick.
Mm-hmm. And another creepy thing, and why it's kind of almost eerie and where you can almost believe this demon thing. One, the 315 situation, but also no one heard these gunshots. Not only did, obviously, the family didn't hear it, even though he shot the parents first and these kids are like just like down the hall, but no neighbors did. And it's not like they're in the middle of nowhere.
I will say, if you use a pillow,
then there would have been evidence of a pillow being like shot. He pretended to not know where his family was, and then he decided that he was super bored around noon. He's like, I don't want to be here anymore. And so then he left work and then spent the day with friends. He told everyone, like, for his alibi, like, he just walks up to people and he's like, I just can't get in touch with anyone at home. What is going on? And they're like, hey, Butch, how are you? I don't know where my parents are. Okay. This is so strange. Do you want to hang out for a few hours and an entire day? And definitely you can tell people where I was all day. And they're like, this is normal. Sure.
Yeah, I'm about it.
Totally. And then about 6 p.m., he called a friend in probably the worst impression of a surprised person, of who would be surprised upon finding their entire family dead. Yes.
Mother.
He was like, oh my God, my what? My family's murdered. This family that I have been looking for all day. You know, I was with you all day, and I was like, where are my parents? And guess what? They were dead the whole time. That's such a crazy thing and totally not related to me.
Bruce twist.
It was not me. Instead, actually, you know who it was? I saw a Hispanic man, probably with the mafia. It was them. And then he called the cops and he said that. These are real things. He is the worst.
Murdered my whole family. It wasn't me.
The mafia murdered his family. Yeah. It was definitely a Hispanic man because racism.
Yes.
And here's the fun thing, because this isn't fun enough as it is.
Yeah.
When the police were like, okay, you seem to be really adamant that it was the mafia, but we don't really have any evidence to link your father with the mafia. Like, he's not really that important.
Kind of dude.
So Butch
just kind of sells cars and shit.
Yeah. So Butch was like, you know what? Let me tell you why the mafia is upset. So there's a big man. There's the main mafia guy, Fellini. Okay. Mm-hmm. The most mafia name you can have. Fellini. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wanted Butch's dad dead because Butch's dad was spreading rumors and talking trash about Fellini, and said, like, his father was threatening him, and he was like, oh, you can just come and suck my dick. I don't care about anything you say. You're not powerful. And Fellini was like, great, your whole family's dead. Cool. Yeah. And so he definitely then killed his entire family because of that. Yeah. Like, clearly, that's a good reason. Yeah. As any. Yeah, this is what he told the police. Yeah. Those are the things he told the police. Yeah. To explain why his family was murdered.
But then he changed that up, right?
But not him. Well, here's what
eventually,
happened. Here's what happened with that.
Because demons.
His story just fell apart, as it does, because it had nothing to stand on.
Yeah,
The most important was that the idea that he hadn't been home.
Yeah.
So when they do the autopsies and they're investigating, it's very clear that this family has been dead for more than just like the middle of the day when he had been at work. Because the idea was that he went to work, everyone was alive at breakfast, and then bam, while he was like, where's everybody? They're not there. Yeah. Because they got murdered right after he left, right? Well, they're like, no, it looks like they definitely were murdered, like, in the morning, like, while everyone was asleep, because they're all in pajamas, they're all still in the bed. Like, you don't, like,
it's not like they ate breakfast with you.
And then went back to bed on Monday or whatever it is. So when he's approached with this, he says, okay, I was home. And the mafia man came, Fellini, he put a gun to my head, and he walked around and he shot my whole family with me there and this big show, and he made me watch, and I could not tell anyone because he'll kill me too. I don't know why he didn't kill you anyway. And why, like,
You're in the family.
You did it. Why
You're
are
a
you
part of
still
the
alive? You're
threats,
not that
yeah.
important. You're the worst part of that entire family.
Yeah.
Butch, what you doing? Well,
Sold his soul to the guy, apparently.
so very quickly, the police figured out what was
Yeah, that's
going
not
on.
true.
And they
Yeah.
were like, no, we're locking you up. You're a crazy person who killed your family. So he tried for the insanity plea.
Uh-huh.
He tried to say he heard voices that told him to kill his family, possibly demons. But, you know, his psychologist his team hired were like, yeah, maybe he's crazy. Well, the one that the state hired was like, no, he's actually just a sociopath. He has antisocial personality disorder, which makes him incredibly selfish and doesn't care about other people, essentially.
Yeah.
So he did not care when he kills his entire family because they don't mean anything to him. Because what mattered to him was collecting the insurance policy, and his siblings don't get any of it because they were killed by the mafia. So he was found guilty on November 21st. Did not take long, on 6 counts of second-degree murder. So he was sentenced to 6 consecutive life sentences and sent to Greenhaven Correctional Facility in Beekman, New York.
I mean, did they believe the crazy part? Because they made a whole movie about it.
So here's the thing. Okay? This is what's important. They did not believe the crazy thing. He's not crazy. He's a murderer.
Yes.
End of story. So they were killed in 1975. 2 years later, the house gets bought. Everyone knows there was a murder there.
Yeah.
That's fact.
2 years later?
2 years
I feel
later.
like that's quick. I don't know. No?
You know, it's got
Maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Lutz family moves into their house. They allege that they were haunted. Mm-hmm. And this is the story. This is a story that everyone knows. This is the whole thing where, you know, the man starts acting weird. They start seeing things. There's eyes outside the window. Mm-hmm. There's the smell of death. There's flies. There's all these, like, hypotheses as why. It's actually the following year. It's not till 1977 that they publish the account of what happened to them. So it's literally a year later that the house gets lived in. Mm-hmm. So the Lutzes, George and Kathy, move in with their 3 children. Uh-huh. And they said that almost immediately that they moved into this house, it just became hell for them.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
just
28 days is not long to live somewhere to immediately feel like, yeah, I gotta go, bye.
Yeah. Well, yeah, moving in a year after murder, that's gonna happen.
Pretty soon, yeah.
And this story, like, their story is what spurred, like, this entire franchise of horror movies. So you have the Amityville, which
they're all very similar.
Yeah, we watched the old one, we watched the new one, which were the same. But there's also Amityville Creation, Amityville Dollhouse, Amityville No Escape, My Amityville Horror, Amityville The Awakening.
I know the 2 we watched.
Yeah, well, and they were the same story.
Yeah.
The other ones are just like, let's talk about more stuff. It was like, I don't know how you can keep making them. Yeah. So, they thought that there were demons in the house, and it has to be the demons that talk to Butch.
Yeah.
Because that's real.
Same thing. Yep.
They said that doors would be ripped from hinges, and cabinets would slam closed. The children began sleeping on their stomachs, which they didn't do previously, which the family had done and was murdered like that. Everyone woke up at 3:15 a.m., specifically George. That noxious green ooze would slime from the ceiling. A biblical scale insects attacked the family. So, like, in the film, we saw the flies.
Yeah.
And we just get them. The most memorable thing from, like, the old movie, and then just something that resonates with people, is the demonic face in the window with the glowing red eyes. They also said that they saw, one day it had snowed, and they saw hoof prints, like cloven ones, like a demon, by the window, like, and then had, like, walked off. They called a priest, just like the Snedekers had done, to bless the house, and he was driven back with painful blisters on his hands, and he was famously told by a demonic voice to get out. Get out. Yeah. So, like, in the movie, you heard, like, the get out, and he's like, ah, and he runs on. And he's like, white people are possessing black people. Get out.
Hey.
And then our lovely friends, Ed and Lorraine, visited.
Yes,
so if no one knows who Ed and Lorraine are, they're famous demonologists. They're all full of shit. but they're tied to a lot of different stories. You have Annabelle, The Conjuring, Haunting in Connecticut. Pretty much anytime like messed up things were happening, the Ed and Lorraine were there.
Yeah, they made their living off of scary shit.
Yeah, they were there profiting off of people being scared or manipulating people into being more scared so that they can write books about them.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful. Great people. Love them.
Yep.
So, of course, they found their way to this haunted house.
Uh-huh.
So, during the investigation, Ed says he was physically pushed to the floor while using some religious provocation in the basement. Mm-hmm. We have a basement, and it's scary, and we're here, and it's awful. Lorraine was also overwhelmed by the sense of a demonic presence and was plagued by her psychic impressions. Because remember, Ed was just a demonologist, but Lorraine had like psychic tendencies.
Whenever she touched people in situations, she'd be like, oh, this is what's happening.
She said that like she could see the DeFeo family's bodies laid along the floor, covered in white sheets, and had this sense of physically being pushed back. They always brought with them a research team who captured an image of a spirit that appeared as a little boy peering from the second floor. Like, yeah, it's fucking creepy. And then this was something that was referenced in both of the movies, that there is this history, so to speak, that John Ketchum lived there. So it's like the Ketchum and, what is it? Ketchum kill him. Ketchum kill him. So John Ketchum was a practicing black magician and had a cottage on the land prior to the construct of the Dutch colonial in 1924. John requested that his remains be buried on that property, and they remain there till this day.
Cool.
Right? So he supposedly, had this black magic, very likely abused Native Americans, and did all this kinds of ritual stuff on them, and that's why that place is really haunted. The Shinnecock this is real. The Shinnecock Indians also at one time had an enclosure on this land that was used to house the sick and the mad, and those in the enclosure were left to die. The Warrens believed that the suffering there had left the property with a very negative energy and dark history, and that such a negative history was a magnet for demonic spirits and the preternatural.
What I will say is that, I don't believe the first dude, but that family was super definitely murdered in that house. So if, there was going to be spooky things to happen with ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the second story more than I'd believe the first one.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the Warrens believed, that these energies in the house of this past directly impacted the lives of the DeFeos and the Lutzes. So she's saying it wasn't just...
I think the DeFeos, that's full of shit. Mm-hmm. The Lutzes, I would more likely believed. Because the DeFeos were recently murdered in the house that they're living in,
Yeah.
I feel like that energy is more new and recent,
Yeah, well...
making things spooky.
Sure. The Lutzes did leave. They weren't able to get the spirits out of the house. So they just left.
Yeah.
The Ed and Lorraine got some of their possessions because that's what they do. They like to get haunted stuff and then put it in their little creepy museum. They did that. But the Lutzes just relocated to California because that's what you do. Here's the thing. Here's why the Lutzes are full of shit.
Okay.
So there's a lot to debunk here. So there's a person who researched it and was like, listen, here's why none of this adds up. So, for one, the Lutzes could not have found the demonic hoofprint in the snow when they said they did because weather records showed there had not been any snowfall in the area during the time they said so.
Huh.
You can't have demonic snow prints if there's no snow.
Valid.
Even though the book details extensive damage to the home's doors and hardware, the original locks, doorknobs, and hinges were actually untouched. Okay. It's an old house, but everything was intact. So how are things being thrown off the hinges and broken and destroyed if they're all still there and they're perfectly fine?
The ghosts fix them.
The ghosts fix them. Susan
likes to clean. Other ghosts like to clean too.
Yeah. Continue. Both the book and the film on Amityville horror explain that or mention that cops come to the house. But there's no records of that actually cops ever coming. Nickel writes, during the 28-day siege that drove the Lutz family from the house, they never once called the police. Nichols is the one who
that's
did this
crazy.
research. There could not have been Native American burial ground here, as no Native Americans resided in that area. So, guess what? He did not torture Native Americans because they were not there. And there was not mad Native Americans living in their place. Because they weren't there, so they couldn't get tortured.
Yeah.
So, wrong. Not a Native American burial ground. When Ed and Lorraine came and they moved promptly after Ed and Lorraine because they were like, this is too messed up. You can't live here. But right after that, Barbara and Jim Cromartie, I'm going to say that's how you say it, moved in like immediately after them and never reported a single problem. They were like, our house is fine. In fact, the thing they complained about was all the people that flocked to the house looking for demons.
Similar things for Haunted in Connecticut house.
Exactly.
People who live there are just like, can you just like let us fucking live, please? Yeah. There's no ghosts here. You want to check our fucking walls? There's not dead things in there. The movie was a fucking lie.
Yes.
Just like the reality was a lie. Probably.
Exactly. Because the thing is, like, yeah. So you have these people who are like, oh my god, this house is haunted. And then the people who move in after them are like, there's nothing wrong here. The only thing that's wrong is the people who think there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. The thing that bothers me about the film and why it's so important is that it came about because Butch's lawyer, William Weber, like met with the Lutzes after they moved in and over a bottle of wine created this story. They came along, they're like, you know what? Let's say the house was haunted. Let's make Butch's story real. Then people will believe that he had demons in him. And then maybe we can get him off on parole. So this whole film, all these stories...
Why do they want him out of jail?
These things were created...
He's a murder person!
Because they wanted to corroborate that story that
upsetting.
He was possessed by demons. And he's admitted it. Like, William Weber, the lawyer, admitted that the house was never really haunted, and the horrific experiences they had claimed were simply made up because they needed a defense for him. And fun fact, 112 Ocean Ave, a.k.a. the Amityville whorehouse, is for sale.
We're not moving there.
So we should definitely pack up our things and go.
No, we're not moving there. Nope.
I mean, we survive right now in this basement, so I think we can survive an entire house.
Yeah, no, hard pass.
That's definitely not haunted because it was a lie.
Creepy shit.
I'm explaining that it was a lie.
I'm just saying you like to go places that are scary for no reason.
It's for reasons.
No reason.
I don't. For no reasons is true, but for no reason is not true. It's for science.
It's not science.
It is. Well, we watched some stuff.
We did.
And we watched The Haunting in Connecticut, both the movie and then
a little documentary
Paranormal Witness episode called The Real Haunting in Connecticut. If you're interested, it's season 2, episode 7.
Cool.
It's a really interesting show, and that one went more in depth. And I enjoyed that more than the movie, actually, a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, me too.
When the movie first came out, it was really scary for me.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
It was a date for me. With all my friends also there, because we were like 13.
Did you like hold his hand because you got scared?
Probably.
That's cute. I did not watch it on a date. I watched it when I was home after it had already been out. And I watched it with my mom and my younger sister, Victoria, if you're listening. And she tried to convince us that she wasn't afraid of movies and that she can watch them with us now.
Big kid, big brief.
Of course. And we were like, okay, sure. So we were watching, and at one point there was it wasn't even really scary. It was just that the music got really loud. It did one of those like, dun kind of things. And so then, we just like watching it. And then my mom looks over and she's like, wait, where'd Victoria go? Right? And and I'm like, what? And then my sister pops up on the side of the bed, and she always had this blanket that she carried around with her blanket that she has to have with her for protection purposes. And it was on her head, and she just peeked out from the side of the bed and like pushes the blanket up and just peeks through, and she's like, what? What is it? We had like the funniest time because it was just like, see, you can't watch these movies. Yeah. But it was so adorable, and we teased her about it for years, and now the entire internet can tease her about it.
Yeah.
But it was scary at the time, and I really enjoyed the lore because it was different in the film than real life in that he is sick. And so then he's closer to the spirits.
Yeah.
And then...
2 dead boys, whatever. Come to.
Yeah. But the whole thing was like that he came back and he found the bodies and they were in the wall. And then he got... The big twist was that he got healthy after that.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason. Whereas in reality, he did get healthier. But then he died.
Back, unfortunately, yeah.
He did get cancer again. I enjoyed it. There was like that scene with that actually happened with shower curtain.
Yeah.
Where it like wraps around her and tries to suffocate her.
Some of it was similar, you know, in the way it happened. The mom definitely believed the kid more like immediately kind of than the actual mom did, which I enjoyed the little episode about it better than the movie for that reason, because it was more realistic. Like the mom's like crying on film.
Yeah.
It's like she was just trying to be like kind of a good mom throughout.
Yeah.
And, like, she didn't know it was happening. She didn't know, like, if it was because he got diagnosed with schizophrenia. So, like, if it was because he was schizophrenic or if it was because this was actually happening. And then, like, she witnessed this other stuff.
And it's like she's dealing with a kid who has cancer, and she's just, like, racked with the fact that she has to, you know, help him, and she's helpless. Yeah. And now he's, like, acting out in these ways, and she can't find out how to help him. So it was definitely more sympathetic. Whereas in the film, it was more just like let's find the mystery. And then they find, they had the whole thing about the kid doing the seances. And his whole thing, and he's like trying to protect them. And it had that twist where they got him out of the house. And it's like, no, now he's coming back. But in reality, it wasn't that they got rid of this like Jonah, really. This guy. It's more that the kid left. They sent the kid away because they were like, he needs help. He's hurting people. Yeah. And then it got worse because he wasn't there. And he warned his mom in the thing. Yeah. It was like, because I'm gone, it's going to get worse. They're going to come after you.
Yeah.
So.
But, like, it still bothers me. Like, I still feel skeptical just because they stayed there for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 2 years.
I feel like if my children / relatives are being, like, assaulted in a sexual way, especially, I'd be like, nah, we're gone now. Like, but like the first time, like the one scene where she's talking about like the rosary gets even taken. Like, if I witnessed that, I'd be like, all right, we either all need to be committed or we all need to go.
Yeah.
Like, why did they stay? That's like crazy. I understand like the financial element, but like there's that part that says they were like the parents were both raped and sodomized. That's. You leave.
Yeah, and I mean, especially...
That's, like, the most traumatizing thing people can go through. You leave. Like, crazy to me. I just don't understand.
And they were renting. It wasn't like they didn't... They had a house. They had another house that they owned. And were paying the mortgage for it that they could go back to. It wasn't like they had nowhere to be. They were just there, and they were there for the son so that he can go to the hospital. Like, but then he was gone, and they were still like, yeah, let's just stay here, pay rent, and get raped. What?
Yeah, like, that's crazy.
Unbelievable.
And I feel like maybe there's stuff we don't know. Maybe there's other factors at play. But, like...
It just seems like
it seems a little
good
off
enough
to
reason
me.
to
like,
break
if Ed
a
and
lease.
Lorraine are involved, I feel like there's definitely some sketchy shit that's going on that we just aren't sure about.
And that was that was 2009, so it was like decent, effects. If you I mean, we told you about what The Haunting in Connecticut was, like Susan did. It's based off of the Ray Garton book, but he does publicly distance himself from the accuracy of the events he depicted in the book because of that whole conversation with Ed.
Yeah.
Like, even he doesn't believe any of it. Yeah, we also watched Amityville Horror. We watched the old one from 1979 and the one from 2005 with Ryan Reynolds and his beautiful body.
Which was so much of that movie. That's insane.
Which is honestly the only reason to watch it.
Like, honestly... Not to say he's not attractive, but I've never been like, oh my God, Ryan Reynolds. Like, I've always found him, like, cute. Like, I've always found he's, like, cute. I've always liked him, He's he's traditionally, like, everyone's kind of about him. I get it. I'm not like, no, that's not true. But, like, this movie, I was just like, oh my God. Just, like, beard always.
Yeah.
And just never wear shirts.
Yes. When I bought it.
It was just great.
Well, I loved him. But it was literally the only good thing about that film. Everything was awful. It was rushed. It wasn't really scary.
You know, that one was definitely...
It was more just, like,
dumb.
aggravating and stressful in that he was just this horrible stepfather and was just being abusive, and this mom was, like, trying to be a good mom. And the fact, like, he did a lot of stuff where I was like, I would have left. Like, it was kind of crazy that she was still there. And I get that, like, it's 1979. Your husband died and now you have 3 kids, and this man agreed to marry you and take care of your kids. Like, that's a big deal.
If you think about it in the context that it was 28 days, that's not a lot of days.
Yeah, for
He
him
was
to
only
totally
weird
flip
for, like,
out.
a little weird time. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, though, like, that's a very short... If, like, that's the time when he started acting weird and kind of, like, shitty, then, like, that's a very short period. And if you can't last 30 days with a guy you've married and promised forever to...
Sure.
It's because he acted a little weird for a few weeks.
If you take the film with Ryan Reynolds, it was a quick escalation of those
quick,
28.
yeah.
So that was like, I totally understand like holding out things like for 28 days and whatever. But he was like more or less abusing her kids. And if at the very least, she should have been sticking up for them a little bit more. Yeah. And she wasn't. She was just like, oh, no, don't do that. But again, it's like, I mean, some women are just submissive like that. Yeah. And it happens. And they claim it was the house. And as soon as he got out, he's better. But it was like, it was definitely rushed. Really unbelievable. I think the best part of that film is when the daughter's on the roof. Yeah. That was like the scariest thing. Mommy, hey. And then she's like, I want to go be with Daddy. And he's like, you're fucking crazy. But I think the old one definitely was better, like significantly so.
Well, because they made it more about the spooky, where I guess if we're devil's advocating it, if you're saying that none of the haunting stuff is true and he's just crazy, he's just a bad stepdad, then it's more believable that he would act that way.
Yeah.
Instead of it being like, you know, because Ed was less like, there are ghosts here, like it's still a thing, but he was just kind of shitty.
In the first one, he was just kind of shitty. In the newer one, he was like in the basement and he was hearing things and he was waking up every morning at 3:15, getting significantly worse. Like, it to me was really nailing in that whole, there are demons in this house, that's why he's a bad father and is like abusing these children.
Okay.
Just like,
I just wanted to check
Butch.
to see if that's like where we were.
Yeah. Like, I definitely think it was, again, just trying to be like, see, Butch wasn't wrong. Which is, in the old one, he was crazier too, but even then, it was like...
He was still redeemable.
Yeah, and it was subtle, and there were things that you can agree with, and it was clear that he was just under a lot of stress, and they made it that way, where they're like, you just moved into a house that you can't afford, you bought one, which is a big deal, like, they kept emphasizing it's a big deal. You married a woman who has 3 children that aren't yours, and you have your own business, and, like, that's a lot to deal with, so he's pretty much just, like, having a psychological break. Which I could believe. It was less about, like, demons coming after him. That seemed like it was more in the background. Like, that was happening. But I felt like it was more about the people. And it was more about, like, not an excuse. It was just, like, understand what was happening to us. But the thing I just could not get behind... You changed my mind.
You changed my perspective.
Oh, I'm glad. The thing that really irked me about the old one, though, was the wife.
Yeah.
She was awful. It was just like, why? One, she always dressed like a child.
Yes.
She had pigtails. She'd have like a flower in her hair. There's one where she's literally wearing a schoolgirl uniform.
Yeah.
Like, she went in like knee-high socks, plaid skirt, white, but like literally walked out of a Japanese school and went to get groceries in her pigtails. And she's like, oh, husband, look at me. Like, what? Why? And it's like, she was definitely over-sexualized. They have that whole scene where she's just in like a kimono.
She has one sock.
Yeah, and she's like in a
really
kimono.
Long sock, and then the other one's not a sock, and then she's just like half naked. And
yeah, with like, where the thing is just covering her nipples on each side, but she's not wearing a bra, and it's just tits, and she's just super sexual the entire time. Just like, look, have sex with me, and which is like, I guess I understand why he's with her and her 3 kids, because she's just a sex thing. She had nothing of substance.
In the first one, yeah. Her character, they didn't really let her do anything.
Yeah. Whereas in the other one...
really play into, like, being like, yeah, me.
Yeah. Whereas like 2005, that mother definitely had more where she was like, she had a connection to her kids and she has
she
that
was a
whole
good mom.
moment with her daughter.
She tried, at least.
Yeah.
Rather.
Where she's like, oh, I understand that you want to see daddy, but he's gone now.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to see him. He's with the angels. Like, we need to move on. And that she cared about her sons. And she cared about George.
Yeah.
Like, she could have killed him at the end, spoilers, but she doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's this whole thing about, like, getting him out. And the other one, it was just like, she was dumb.
Yeah.
They did not give her any credit.
Yeah.
They just put her, like, this is a sex thing. Here she is. Put her in children's clothing. Or none at all. And he's angry. And that was the whole film. But I do think it was better. Even, like, the haunts were better. And the whole priest aspect to it where they would come and get sick. And then they, like, it felt more like stress in a haunted house as well. As opposed to, look, there's demons here, and that's why people kill people. Which is why I don't like these films. Because it's trying to, like, give a reason for why this just drug addict, troubled, like, fuck up, murdered his family for money. He was a sociopath. He did that. It was not demons.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it was not. Okay, so it's either Shirtless Ryan Reynolds, which is good. Shirtless Ryan Reynolds, which is good, which means you like it, or The Mafia Definitely Killed My Family.
Okay.
Which is, I do not like it.
I mean, in terms of the genre in general, Mafia probably killed the family, in my opinion.
Like haunted houses, you just don't like them?
I just think it's overdone. It's overplayed, and I don't like that they're all lies. Like, if you're, I mean, not that I want those things to be true, but I don't know. It just seems like very overplayed. It's definitely scary. Like, when you see it, it's like entertaining. I'll give it that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I love Shirtless Ryan Reynolds. But yeah, I mean, in terms of, I just think it's overplayed.
Yeah.
Kind of over it at this point. Like, it's scary. Yeah. But I feel like in terms of all the movies we watched, I wished that they weren't so similar. Like, I literally could just mix them up in my head.
Yeah.
Like, it seemed kind of lazy that they just keep making very similar movies over and over and over and over and over and over again.
But I mean, what else could you really do with a haunted house? Like, there's no way to, like, reinvent it. Like, The Conjuring was literally these two movies put together. Yeah. Like, it's definitely The Mafia Definitely Killed My Family, because yeah, like you said, it's just overdone. I think the most interesting ones are when it's not, like, it's a house and it's, like, possessed or whatever, but when it gets stuck to you.
Yeah, that
like,
travels.
Yeah, no matter where you go, it's now possessing you. Like, the scariest thing is, like, in The Conjuring is when Lorraine said that she saw that there was, like, ghosts, like, there's an energy, this black, like,
stuck to them
energy that was there with them, always there. That's the scariest part of that film.
Yeah.
Was this idea that we can't see it, but the whole time she was talking to them, she could see this other being just, like, over them all the time. Like, that would be the scariest thing for me. And I feel like should have been the entire movie. But it was, like, and then they had that whole, like, exorcism in the basement because it, like, possessed her.
Yeah.
But really, I think what it is just that people do really bad things, and of course it's, you know, bad residual energy.
Yeah.
And, like, energy just doesn't go away, it just takes a different form, you know. And so it's still there, and I think it just, people hear about what happened previously or have this connotation about death and murder, obviously, reasonably, so then they have these things that hold on to, and then you're more susceptible to thinking that you're being haunted and that there's something to fear. And then people like Ed and Lorraine profit off of that and, like, fuel it, and then they make, you know, movies and books.
Yeah, I don't like that they're profiting off of it. I think that's the fucked up part where I'm just like, people are just gonna keep doing this. They're not being especially creative. They're not reinventing anything great. And I feel like these are people who might have actually believed these things. Like, there's certain, like, I think the Haunting in Connecticut lady, I believe some of it to an extent based on, like, the little paranormal whatever thing we watched. It seemed like she, like, knew something was going on that, like, wasn't okay.
Yeah.
And, like, they played upon her fear. Like, you know, I think the Ed and Lorraine Warren situation is more so what I'm kind of over.
Like, I think that people get stressed out and they do experience something.
Yeah.
And they can't explain it, and so then it becomes we're being haunted.
Yeah.
Like how I was saying in Haunting in Connecticut, when she's like, her niece came and was like, you know, I don't know what it was, but something's been like touching me inappropriately.
Yeah.
And when the aunt heard that, it wasn't like, oh my God, there's ghosts. She was like, okay, this is her way of telling me that my son is hurting her. The only way that she thinks she can.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to come up and be like, your son is touching me inappropriately, but you can say like, something is happening to me and I need help. So it just feels like she was right, I think, in at least that first step of trying to explain it away with reality and being like, my son is suffering from a lot of things. He's on a lot of medication. He hurts. He's probably dealing with like his mortality. He's upset. And so he's lashing out at people.
Yeah.
And he needs help. And so I think that was a more practical way, and it was more believable to me than the crap that like Amityville did. Like none of them make any, like Amityville is way less believable than Connecticut.
I don't like the idea that these people who like were generally probably scared and like were going through something got like their fear played upon, and like people are profiting from that. And I mean, hopefully maybe they're profiting a little bit too if they're, you know, okay and not dead and what have you.
Yeah.
Well, but, like still it's like kind of shitty.
Well, it's just like with the problem I have with exorcisms, you know, where it's people who have some kind of psychotic break and are being influenced by like this religion or by this belief, and so they're not getting the help they need, and so they're getting like, you know, exorcisms where now it's your house is sick or whatever, and it could just be your household is sick, you know, and instead of, you know, dealing with it, it's, oh, the house is haunted, we need to leave it, and somehow that's going to fix your problems. And it's not. Haunted houses aren't real. Even this incredibly haunted basement. And Susan.
Oh, Susan.
I'm sorry you missed her. Yeah. All right, so I guess that was it. Like, in summation, haunted houses probably aren't real. It's just that people feel uncomfortable. Oh, wait. Also, definitely watch the old Amityville Horror just for kicks, and also for the amazing soundtrack, since we've talked about music before.
Yeah.
It was so eerie because it's like uplifting,
the
high
same song.
Music. Yeah. Every time something bad happened, you knew it was happening because the same song played, and it would be really like, it felt whimsical and like kind of like delightful, and then all of a sudden there would be that deep note in the middle of it, we're like, whoomp. Yeah. That was really good. So it was like, la 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 la, and then it's like, whoomp. And then you're like, something is happening. But it almost like if you took that out and you didn't have like the deep notes,
it would be as scary.
I would think that like someone was going to explore like Narnia or something. Like it just was so weird, and they just kept bringing it up, and so it was kind of creepy. I think it definitely added to that, and was the best part of like that really film. It was honestly every time the song came on, you'd be like, "Uh-oh, what's up? We're in store for something new.
Something's going on." So
for that film specifically, Ryan Reynolds Shirtless, I love it. And then the other one,
where
just
Ryan Reynolds
to see when he's
shirtless.
actually shirtless. Yeah. That's a good point. And then Haunting in Connecticut is a great film too. I think it definitely was good for the time. But if you've already seen it, like it's not a rewatchable film.
It doesn't have much replay value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for sure. Agreed. Don't get married.
They'll eat your kids.
Yeah, they'll eat their kids.
All right. Okay. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone. Stay clean.
Oh, fuck, it's Susan again.